Good evening, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to Moyo Talks this Wednesday evening. It is 8 o'clock and it is time for our weekly broadcast, our weekly sharing of wisdom, of insights, and of food for your soul to help you on your spiritual journey, to help you develop as a person, and to help you heal. My name is Mark Bind, and I'm one of the hosts and one of the founders of the Moyo platform. And it gives me great pleasure to be here this evening because we have a special healing transmission from Sabine Thomas. But before we start with that, I just want to make a few announcements. Firstly, you are invited to share through the chat box at the bottom of the screen. So on most devices and on some phones, you'll find a chat button at the bottom of your screen. And I'm just going to write something in there now so you can see how that pops up for you. And you're invited to share your thoughts, your questions, your insights through the chat box during the presentation. There is also a Q&A tab. In the same place where you'll find the chat button, you'll find a Q&A button, and you can post your questions for Sabine into that Q&A tab. And at the end of her presentation, we'll have an opportunity to ask those questions, and Sabine will get the opportunity to answer those questions. So just to get to know how that chat function works, just post something into the chat box now, and you can let us know where in the world you are and how you're feeling. And it'll be great to see where everybody's connecting from this evening. So yeah, feel free to do that now into the chat box. And with that out the way, we are going to just take a few minutes to just take a few deep breaths. If you don't mind, just setting the intention on coming into the space consciously this evening. Take a deep breath and just exhale all your stresses and your strains from the day. Let go of all your tension. And just bring yourself consciously into the space, perhaps even putting aside your social media or your phone for the next half an hour or 45 minutes, and just setting the intention on being present here this evening. And while you do that, I'm going to introduce our speaker for the night, Sabine Thomas. Sabine Thomas is a French citizen based in South Africa, living in Cape Town. Sabine facilitates and teaches therapies that are complementary to conventional medicine. And she teaches this process to people all around the world, helping people to address the issues of stress, trauma, and illness. Her work has been covered in international media, and her clients count as some of the most illustrious in their fields. She helps children recover faster, especially those who have encountered forms of stress or violence. In her over 30 years of experience, Sabine's greatest joy is in teaching people how to access their latent healing abilities and to help them create a better life. Her mission is to educate and share practical, empowering, and healing knowledge to all. And she also offers a free healing session 6 times a week, having connected with over 9,000 people over the last 6 or 7 months. The benefits of her free energy healing transfers are no secret. So this evening, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Sabine Thomas to our platform. Sabine, if you can unmute yourself and get your video started, and I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you very much for being here. Over to you.
Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction, Mark, and thanks so much for the invitation. I'm so glad to be invited by Moyo Talk tonight and share my passion about healing, and welcome everyone. Okay, tonight I'm going to talk about Art of Healing method. We will have some participants sharing their experiences with all of us. Then I will guide you through a short meditation, and I will finish with an online energy transfer. But before that, I would like to tell you a bit more about myself, and I would like to share some of my life experiences with you. My first job was to work for a French NGO that was actually an airline. But this NGO was providing very competitive airline tickets to Africa. And in return, the passengers would be doing some humanitarian work in the countries they would visiting. For example, they would help with the building of schools. They would help in planting vegetable gardens, doing permaculture, or even teaching to the community of the regions in West Africa. I really loved that first job, and I was in charge of Burkina Faso, and would travel to Ouagadougou, which is the capital, many times. And this is how I discovered West Africa. This is how I traveled all over the neighboring countries. I was very adventurous. And I would travel in bush taxis, in train, by myself. And I had amazing experiences. And this is how I did fall in love with this beautiful continent. It was really, really wonderful. However, once, while I was visiting Ouagadougou, I became very, very ill. And I did not take it seriously initially, but then I went to see some doctors and some scientists. I even asked a traditional healer to come and see me, but no one really could help me. And finally, one of the doctors sent me back to Paris, and I landed in the Tropical Institute in Paris, where all the doctors would see me behind the window. They were checking on me behind the glass windows, and I was really not well. I was dying. I had terrible headaches, unbearable migraines, huge body pain, unbearable body pain. I could not eat anymore. I was really, really weak. And after a few days, the diagnosis came. It was what they called an unknown virus. And they tried a few drugs with absolutely no success. I was really hopeless. I was stressed. And no one in Africa could help me, nor a single doctor in this specialized French institute. It was really, really terrible for me. And then, because I was dying, I mean, my decision was made. There was no way I would stay in this hospital, and I needed to go back to my mommy. And I wanted I negotiated with them. My mother negotiated with them, and we left the hospital. And after signing all the official documents, I went to my mother. And one morning she said, "Sabine, there's one gentleman down the road. I don't know what he's doing, but I heard a lot about him. And I hear he heals people." Then, because I was so weak and too weak, he came to me. He put his two hands gently on my shoulders, and he stayed like that for a few minutes, and then he left. The man came again the day after, and after the fourth day, I could feel a real difference into my physical body. I could, in fact, I began to feel hungry, and it was the first proper meal I had for weeks. And I was so looking forward every single day for these men coming to see me. And at the end of the first week, I was able to get out of the bed by myself. And I was like 50% better. And after a month, I was 100% all right. And I was feeling wonderful. Really, it was really amazing. I was feeling so much stronger, so much better, that I became obsessed with finding out what he had done to save my life. When the best doctors in Paris simply scratched their head looking at me and refused to come near me. And this story, what I'm telling you now, has occurred many, many years ago. And since then, I have devoted my life to travel the world and to advance my own knowledge in the art of healing. And for the past 35 years, I've been everywhere learning from amazing masters. I've been learning from, I had the privilege to learn from an amazing Vietnamese master for years. I also went in India, and I learned from those incredible monks for months and the hard way with them. I went to Australia. I went to meditate on Ayers Rock. I've done some shamanic initiation in Costa Rica. I learned transformational breath. That is just an amazing technique. I learned EFT and many other modalities. I spent 35 years learning many different modalities. I was also privileged to meet and learned from incredible human beings like Dr. Deepak Chopra, Dr. Dispenza, Dr. Beccelli, Dr. De Martini, Tony Robbins, Dr. Eric Pearl, and I even created and opened the first laughter clubs in Johannesburg. And during my 35 years journey, I was amazed that some of those special healers, those special masters were considering me as someone with a certain knowledge. And they were asking me for healing session. It was a surprise because they were my teachers. They were my guides. I remember very well during one of Dr. Pearl, Eric Pearl workshops in Portugal with thousands of people, he was always asking me to come on stage to give him a transfer of energy. And the first time I put my hands on his shoulder, it did crack so loudly to the point where the participant could hear it on the microphone, and his shoulder went back to normal again. He was really astonished, me too, because it's always a positive and agreeable surprise, and he had a big smile on his face. And those individuals and those special masters and those special healers and all the experience that I lived pushed me to develop my own practice. And all over those years, I've been able to develop what I call my latent abilities and my healing talents. And a few months ago, when I heard about the lockdown, my immediate response to the situation was to offer free online meeting, free online healing sessions through Zoom. And I offer free healing sessions 6 times a week through Zoom. Then how does it work? Very simple. Individual connects with a Zoom link, and they connect from all over the world. It's really fantastic to see people sitting from all over the world. I send the energy by distance, and we almost reaching more than 10,000 connections now within the next few months. And many participants have been sharing with me and with others their personal feedbacks from those connections, and it's been a great success. Some participants do feel the transfer of energy immediately. I send energy, they feel it. Some participants need more sessions, a few more sessions to become more sensitive to the energy and to feel it in their hands, on the heart level or head level. Some participants can even see the energy, and can you believe some of them are even hearing the energy. However, on aura picture, we can see the impact right away. And I'm going to show you now, to share with you some pictures that are showing some aura pictures. And here it is. Let me show you the picture where we have done some pictures before and after transfer of energy. And those pictures help us visualize the immediate effect of a transfer of energy, even though the person may not at the time be so conscious of what the energy transfer has brought about and what has happened, because some people don't feel the transfer of energy. And even though if they're not conscious of what's happening, the aura pictures immediately shows the change in the ethereal realm very clearly. And you can see it on these individual with the picture before and after. For this, distance does not seem to play any role. I'm going to show you a few more pictures where it was hands-on. Some other pictures, it was by distance. And it does not matter whether the energy transfer was carried out far away from the subject or right in front of him or her. The effect can be determined immediately. And it's interesting because the lady that came with this very special Russian camera was really impressed because she said, my gosh, we can see it immediately. And this is what is happening during an online transfer of energy. We can see this woman here, and we see the image just after where we see the colors have changed, the the energy field looks thicker, stronger, brighter. Here we have a little 5, or I think she was 4 or 5 years old, and it was little Christina with by distance with before and just after. Again, I'm not here to, and we're not going to spend time explaining what's the meaning of this color and this color, but you can see an immediate impact and a change of color and a change of the strength of this energy field, of this electromagnetic field around the body. And our art of healing community is growing. That means we have more and more people coming to the transfer of energy. And really, it would be wonderful if you could join for the next one. And please join us. It's free of charge. It's 6 times a week. And all you need to do is to send me an email on sabinethomas@global.co.za. On Tuesdays and Saturdays, I also do a short meditation before the transfer of energy. And I'm really, really happy to have been able to give those free online sessions. And also it brings me so much joy when the participants are coming back to me and telling me about their results. And today I have invited a few participants to share with you their experience. And let's listen to Anne, to Tuti, to Ludmila, and Irene. I'm sure they will come in any time. We have a lady from France that doesn't speak English at all. And it was interesting because she was coming to the transfers of energy with not even speaking English, but she was sitting there and she had some results. Annie will begin in English.
Thank you for having me. On the day that lockdown was announced, I received the results back from a blood test, which showed that my thyroid readings were too high. My doctor wanted me to go on tablets, which I did not want to do. 2 days later, quite by chance, I came across Sabine's energy transfers that held the promise of healing. I've never done anything like this and decided just to give it a try. So I attended daily energy transfers, and when I did my blood test 6 weeks later, my thyroid was normal. No medication was required. Another health issue I have is that I'm highly allergic and my sinuses suffer as a result. I've had a nose op and I've learned to manage my condition, which has allowed me to breathe, but I've never been able to smell. After the online transfers and attending the course, I walked outside and I could smell my lavender for the very first time. And to my delight, I've also just experienced the beautiful smell of spring for the very first time. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Annie. This is such a beautiful, beautiful testimony. Bless you. Bless you. Tuti, would you like to come and speak for us? Tuti, and I'm going to translate. She will speak in English, and I'm going to translate with her. Tuti, you need to unmute. On ne t'entend pas. Il faut que tu dois... Voilà.
C'est bon, c'est bon. Bonsoir. Je me présente, je m'appelle Tuti, j'ai 62 ans et j'habite en Alsace, en France.
Tuti is living in Alsace, in the French, in the east side of France, and she's 62 years old.
Depuis l'âge de 35 ans, je souffre d'asthme, difficulté de respirer. J'étais très essoufflée, je ne faisais plus de sport ni de vélo, mon hobby, et j'avais un traitement comprenant de la ventoline en spray si besoin et de la cortisone une fois par jour.
Okay, Tuti was suffering from asthma since the age of 35 years old. She couldn't do any kind of sports anymore, and she loved cycling, but she could not do it because she needed to have a treatment, corticoid treatment, every single day.
Mon médecin traitant m'avait dit que ce traitement, malheureusement, était à vie.
The doctor said that this treatment is for her lifetime.
Depuis le mois de mars, je suis en ligne pour le transfert d'énergie gratuit avec Sabine.
Since March, she's following, even if it's in English, she doesn't understand a word, but she's been behind the screen following the free transfers of energy.
Au début, je me connectais tous les jours et maintenant 2 fois par semaine ou plus si je peux.
Initially, she was connecting every single day. Now she can only do it twice a week.
Cela fait 5 mois que je n'ai plus besoin de mon traitement, heureusement.
It's been 5 months now that she doesn't need her treatments anymore.
Mon médecin traitant est très étonné parce que c'est la première fois que ça lui arrive.
Her doctor is very surprised because he said that it's the first time he sees that.
Je peux faire de nouveau des activités sportives sans être essoufflée et fatiguée. Et
she can go back to sports without being tired.
Et je pense et je crois que c'est grâce à un transfert d'énergie gratuit en ligne.
And she says that it's because of the transfer of energy that she's been following since March. Thank you, Tuti.
Thank you, Sabine.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Ludmila, would you like to share your experience?
Yes. Do you hear me nicely? Is it fine?
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me as well. I'm a French academic, and I now live in France, in Paris. But I worked and lived in South Africa. That's where I met Sabine and heard about her healing techniques. I want to say that it's not the first time Sabine has helped me, but I would like to share my latest experience. So when Sabine started her online healing sessions in March this year, at the beginning of the lockdown in France, I had been suffering from regular episodes of vertigo for about 6 months. It was very upsetting for me, especially when it happened outside my home. Why? Because I had to be very careful with my head movements, especially when looking up, down, turning my head. And it was so that I could control my odd sense of imbalance. But then after a week of daily meditation and energy transfer, because at the time it was actually, I'm very grateful for that, it was a daily transfer, I was back to normal. And thank God, thank you, Sabine, I'm very grateful. Now I'm living a vertigo-free life. Thank you.
This is fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing this experience. Thank you. Irene, you need to unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. It's a great privilege to be able to share my husband's and my experiences as a result of everything that we've been exposed to by Sabine. What we did was a training course through Sabine where we learned to do energy transfers on ourselves. And we found these to be so beneficial that we are very loath to start our day without actually doing a transfer on ourselves. In fact, Sabine is keen to have us do transfers on each other, but we won't do that either. We just want to do it on ourselves because we know it works so powerfully. How does it make us feel? We might start the morning feeling, oh gosh, we've got to get into the challenges of today. And after a transfer, we feel whole, we feel energized, we feel grounded in ourselves, and just generally a lot more peaceful and as if we can really cope in a whole new way. Sabine always encourages us to try it and see if it works for us and see if it really makes a difference at an experiential level. And she's clear that the effectiveness of it does not depend on faith or on belief. We found that it really, really uplifts us and connects us to very, very dynamic energy beyond ourselves. We are truly grateful to you, Sabine. Thank you so much for it all.
Oh, thank you so much. This is such a lovely testimony. Thank you, thank you. In fact, Irene was just talking about the fact that I'm also teaching. That means all this knowledge, I call it a sacred knowledge, and I've been teaching to more than 4,000 people all over the world. I have reframed meditation and healing as a practice accessible to all. I made it very practical so anyone can practice and access it. And let me now tell you more about the specificities of the technique, of art of healing technique, because, and what's the difference between art of healing and some other techniques. First of all, it allows each individual to improve and preserve their health, to develop the power of concentration, to have more energy and joy. And it looks like people are also, students are a lot more peaceful. Every single student, participant can implement the technique immediately for themselves. And I love to empower people. I love to share the knowledge in order to empower. They implement for themselves and also for others. They can help others. Students are capable and efficient immediately. The knowledge is yours for a lifetime, okay? And also the process is very quick because it's a 5 minutes process. 5 minutes per person per day. The first module is hands-on, and then there's some other modules where we do by distance. What is even a total beginner can learn art of healing. You don't need to be gifted to do art of healing. I've been teaching to very, very educated people, from prime ministers to doctors to scientists, but also to people who doesn't know how to read or write. Then it's really accessible. It does not require any special eating habits. You don't need to become a vegetarian, for example. The energy is tangible for most students, and participants feel it almost immediately. And what we do that is very specific with art of healing is that we are able to feel what the energetic need of a person, specific points, and therefore send energy where the person really needs energy. It's compatible with all religion, philosophies, or belief. The positive result of this method is giving an answer to people's thirst for peace, wholeness, and fulfillment that money cannot buy. And what is also very important is that it's helping conventional medicine. And I can give you a very brief example of these young students. She was last year at university, about to be a doctor, and she had to work a full year at Baragwana Hospital in charge of the stroke department. And she was giving energy to every single of her patients. And after 6 months, the head of the hospital asked her to come into his office, and he asked her, I want to know why all your patients are recovering twice quicker. And because she was last year of her studies, she did not tell the head of the hospital. However, she could really see out of 6 months that the impact of her transfer of energy, daily transfer of energy on her patients, was really helping the patient a lot. And she's still using the energy today on every single of her patients. Then I was really privileged to be able to teach nurses, doctors, lots of people all over the world. And again, I'm going to bring some students this time, and they will share their own experience. And I promise you, I mean, nobody is paid for that. It's just people, when I told them I'm going to Moyo Talk, they say, Sabine, we need to share our experiences. Then we having Romozzo coming in, Cecile, Dr. Kashmira, and Michelle sharing their own experience about their own practice and what they do on a daily basis in order to bring energy in their life. Cecile, would you like to begin? I can see you here.
Hello, my name is Cecile, and I live in London with my husband and 2 children. I've met Sabine through my sister-in-law in Paris in July. And at the time I was suffering from depression and extreme exhaustion, and I was taking medication for my depression. During the healing session with Sabine, I felt something really, really powerful and extremely, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but something happened and you really felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulder. And as a result, I stopped immediately taking my medication because I could not bear the idea of taking the medication anymore. And I started to feel myself again. In September, I followed Sabine's Art of Healing workshop, and I've been doing daily energy transfers to myself, my husband, and my 2 children, and some of my friends as well. And the results have been absolutely incredible. I've got 2 children. One is 1.5 years, and he has not been sleeping through the night since birth. So that was really, really tough. And since I've been doing the energy transfer on him, he's been sleeping 12 hours a night, having naps, and feeling super healthy and super happy. My 6-year-old is the one who actually asks me every day, please mommy, make me. He say that it just makes him feel happy, relaxed, and he thinks that he sleeps better because of it. So that's his testimonial. And my husband used to be completely skeptical. He doesn't believe in those things. And the only reason why he started believing in it is because he saw the effect he had on our baby. So I've been doing energy transfer on him. He had a very, very serious motorbike accident 2 years ago. He broke his knee, he had lots of surgeries, and he could not do sports anymore. So he was very upset about it. And I've been doing energy transfer on his knees. And now he's playing tennis 3 times a week. He's never played better, so he's super happy. And I can only say from my experience that it's something extremely powerful, extremely potent, and it works, and it's life-changing. So thank you very much, Sabine, for that, because you've changed my life, but you changed lots of people's lives. Oh, and I just wanted to say quickly that I've been as well doing energy transfer on my friends, and one of them, for example, was suffering from insomnia, and now she sleeps for the night like a baby. One had a burn on her hand, and the pain is gone. So it's working. I don't know exactly how, but it's working. Thank you, Sabine.
You know what is very interesting here, Cecile, is that you never heard about healing techniques before. And
No.
For you, it was completely new. And it's by chance that you heard about. You gave yourself a chance to experiment it in terms of receiving a transfer of energy. And you yourself, you're astonished by what you're able to do. And in a way, what I'm teaching is that to each of us to be able to express our latent abilities. And that is important for me. And I'm very happy and very proud of you, Cecile. Romozzo, are you able, can you hear us? Can you unmute?
Hi. Yes, I can. I'm sorry that my camera is not working properly. But to tell a bit about my story, 2018, I had a TB in the lungs. And before that, I was a very active guy, surfing. I cycled every day. I jogged a lot, and I was generally fit. And even after the medication that I got from the nurses and doctors, I was healed, but still I couldn't exercise. I couldn't do a lot of things. I subsequently gained some weight. And for me, it was very hard because there's so many things that are active that I do, even with my work. So I think in March, when I started doing the healings, it was for me something that I didn't think would change my life in that way. But I mean, I think after also learning with the workshops how to heal myself, then I actually went out once and tried it because I could feel a bit of a difference, but I couldn't tell what it was. And I live in a place where everybody around me is like running and exercising, and I went out for a 5 kilometer run. I mean, I did 4 because I was unhealthy, so I couldn't really do it that well. But since I started running, I think it's been maybe 4 or 5 months now. As much as I can, about 5 6 kilometer run. I've started doing sports and activities now, and even like I'm I'm generally so much more happier because I know in the morning all the stress from work and anything that I feel I need to just run out, I can go out in the morning and do it. I can go back into surfing and all the sports that I used to do. And even at work, there's a bit of like air pollution that we have, but I mean, I don't even mind it as much. I know it's bad, but still, I can still get to do so many more things that I couldn't do. And for me, because I've always been a healthy person, that year of being unhealthy was really depressing, and it's so good for me to be back where I am. And even my son now, every morning when I get a chance before I leave for work, I give him a bit of healing as well. And I've seen the difference with him as well, because at some point he couldn't, he had like, he had, I think, on his skin, a bit of a rash. And even though we take him to the doctors, but now with the healing as well, it's helped so many things that we can see a difference with him. Yeah.
Well done. That's fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you, Sabine.
Thank you. Dr. Kashmira, can you unmute yourself? No, it's not unmute. Mark, can we unmute Dr. Kashmira? Yes.
Okay, is it on now? Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Kashmira. My journey with Sabine began many years ago. I was very ill, and it was by chance that we came in contact with Sabine. I was having an autoimmune disease, debilitating in the sense that I had headaches and fatigue that left me unable to move, and I should be in bed a lot. And when we started the healing, we did the course with Sabine. And from that time onwards, when I used to get injections in my head to relieve the headaches, when we started doing the energy healing, when I say we, my husband and I could see an improvement. And from then onwards, there was no injections in my head. which was the most painful and traumatic experience. That was to do with my health. And then I'm a dentist, and it helps me a lot and empowers me as far as my patients are concerned. An example is when an extraction is done, if there's profuse bleeding, once the energy is transferred, the clotting takes place immediately. It's very effective. The other thing is, as a dentist, the patients always say, I hate the dentist. But in my case, once I energize my patients, there's a calm, there's a serenity, and they receive the treatment very well.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kashmira, thank you. Michelle from England.
Good evening. Bonjour Sabine. I've studied with Sabine many moons back, and I've been applying healing since my first lesson with Sabine. I have been doing healing on my husband lately. He came home one day with a terrible earache and said that it was really so painful. It had been like that the whole day. And he's a very skeptical person. He's an engineer, and he said, no, I'm not sure it's going to work. I said, well, let me do it. Let me do it. And so I did apply the art of healing technique that Sabine taught us, which is simple and yet so powerful. And he just disappeared, and he didn't know what to say, which was wonderful. And the other day, my friend had a splitting headache, and there again, I said to her, would you like me to do some healing on you? And she says, what? And I did it, and her headache just disappeared. And she also was quite amazed. So I have been doing healing on people many, many times, but I've also applied the healing technique on animals. I've done it on cats, dogs, horses. And last Friday, my friend Jenny phoned me, and she says, Michelle, my little pig Rupert is really unwell. He's so poorly. He doesn't want to get up. I have never seen him like that. So I said, oh, okay, let me come to you. So I went into his pen, and he was like lifeless. He was lying there, no reaction, nothing. Usually when I speak to him, he would be moving, wagging his tail, but nothing. So I went to him and I gave him some healing for just a few minutes. Then I left him, and I went quickly in the orchard to come and get some apples, because we're in England and it's apple season. Came back, got there, spoke to him in French. I said, oh, Rupert, comment ça va? And he started wagging his tail. And the next moment, he got up, went out of his little pen, came to me and started munching on the apples like nothing happened. I stayed with him a little longer, but then he was just back to his very own self, and he's doing very well. Thank you. Thank you, Sabine, for this amazing technique. Amazing.
Thanks so much for sharing. You can see it also works for animals, and this is really, really something that is important to understand, that this energy is for human beings, but also for animals. Oh, I can see we're running a little bit out of time. And first of all, I'm sure that most of you are asking yourself, but how this art of healing works. And it's very important that to understand this deeply, we need to experience the technique. People need to learn to use the technique, but I'm also not trying to explain too much. It's like, you know, when you try to explain to a kid how to ride a bicycle, you cannot explain the kid how to ride the bicycle. You need to train the kid. He does it and he understands. And it's the same here. Using this energy is something new for students who come to learn. I explain to them what to do, how to do it, when to do it. They practice, and then they know for themselves. And that is very important to understand. Experience is the key with this technique. Much of it is based on experience, not non-belief or ID. Will I share with you some scientific studies briefly? I'm not sure if we have time. I'm going to just hold on. There are some specific studies that were done in Sofia and Tripolis on cancer cells, but I have very little time. If you would like some more information about the cancer cell studies that we've done, I've got books. But we can see here in vitro cancer cells with picture A that has a clear effect on cancer cells elimination, and picture B, the same sample with no energy transfer, showing proliferation and growth. And there's many, I've got lots of scientific and technical studies. Please contact me if you want more information. Here is another pictures of these wound specialists that had this patient where it would not close for months. These wounds after 3 days of transfer, and this lady had these open wounds for months, and this is after 6 days. It really shows exactly that the energy transfer has helped the body to heal quicker. We have here pictures of side effect of radiations where the nurse was taking pictures every single day. The doctor was saying, okay, it will take 2 months at least to dissolve. And the nurse came to see this lady, give her energy transfer. We can see day 4, it's dissolving slowly. Day 8, look at the huge difference on her arm. And here is the day 14, where you can really see there's a huge difference into in the healing process for something that was supposed to dissolve in 2 months. Anyway, all of that is showing you that, first of all, those who are willing to implement what they've learned are having results. If they do it every single day for 5 minutes, it really works. And people, I mean, are talking, you can see it through the pictures. And before doing the meditation and the transfer of energy, I just would like to give you some advices, because we're all going through very special times right now. We're going through very challenging times, and we have to raise our vibration. All of us together are being asked to meditate daily and longer, to tune in, to be still, to live in the present, to practice gratitude. All of that in order to find more balance. Please, let's use more medicinal plants, herbs, eat for a thriving body, community, and planet. And please apply all the different modalities that you have learned in the past. If you have learned Reiki, if you have learned any other healing techniques, please go back to it. Have the discipline, practice them daily, because we have to raise our vibration. Find what is appropriate for you. Integrate more joy and some movement. It's time. It is now. We need to step up. We need to radiate. We need to create a new world. We need to create a new reality that is built on love, compassion, peace, and joy, and we need you. This is very important. Are you all ready for a meditation together? I'm going to do a very short meditation, and afterwards I'm going to do the transfer of energy. For the transfer of energy, you will have to keep your eyes open, but I will close my eyes. For the transfer of energy, you will have to observe and feel what's happening in your hand, in your heart, in your brain. But before that, we're going to do a short meditation. Are you all ready? Yes? Are you all sitting comfortably? Okay. We're going to keep our eyes open and breathe slowly and deeply through the nose. And exhale slowly and deeply through the mouth. And we're going to do that 3 times. And you can now, please just close your eyes and relax. So I would like you to start by focusing on your toes. Close your eyes, scrunch them up, and then please release your toes. Now relax your ankle, calf muscles, knees, thigh muscles. Remember, let any thought you may have float up and way away from you in an air bubble. Relax your buttocks, your pelvic area. Bring your attention to your back and relax your back. Breathe in deeply, and as you breathe out slowly, release any tension you may have in your back. Bring your attention to your stomach. Relax your stomach. Listen to your heartbeat. Now it's time to relax your neck and jaw muscles. Bring your attention to your face. Relax your forehead, your eyes. Relax your face. And relax your whole body. We're now going to focus on Mother Earth. And all of us together, please visualize our beautiful planet. Let's be grateful for the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, and take a moment to silently thank Mother Earth for all she gives us. Visualize our planet surrounded by white light and send love to all the people on Earth. May peace prevail on Earth, and let's create a new future with enlightened, awakened people. Let's create in the near future a beautiful world filled with love, compassion, and peace. May we all trust that we are exactly where we are meant to be. May we not forget the infinite possibilities that we are born with. May we use the gift that we have received and pass on the love that has been given to us. May all of us become who we are meant to be, so we can do what we are meant to do and experience the joy of a truly amazing life filled with joy, grace, health, and inner peace. Let nothing upset us. All things pass. We can now open our eyes and breathe slowly and deeply through the nose. And exhale slowly and deeply through the mouth. 3 times. I am now going to send energy to all the group. It's a privilege for me to be able to do that and to do so now. Please keep your eyes open. Observe, let go. Try to feel what's happening in your hands, heart, in your brain. And if your mind is wandering, just come back to your breathing. I begin now. It's going to be a 2 or 3 minute process. I begin now. Thanks for joining. It was really a pleasure to be able to speak about art of healing today. Namaste, all of you. And you can have more information about art of healing in the email that Mark is going to send you a bit later on. Keep very well. It was a pleasure. Goodbye.
Great. Thank you very much, Sabine.
Thank
I'm just going to see if there are any questions coming in on the Q&A tab. If anybody does have any questions, please post them there. I'm seeing a lot of thanks coming in on the chat. I was just wondering if you could explain to us what happens at the workshop. You've got a workshop coming up over 2 days, the 7th of November and the 14th of November. If you can explain what the process is and what people will learn on the workshop.
Okay, then during these 2 days, it's 2 mornings, full mornings, I'm sharing the knowledge, first of all. I'm explaining in a very practical way what to do in order to implement the technique. Because I made it very practical. I teach people what to do, how to do, when to do, how long to do. And I just remind you, it's a 5 minutes process. Only the transfer of energy itself is only 5 minutes. And I spent all those 2 mornings explaining exactly how to do it properly in order to have some results. And that means there's like on the 7th of November, people are learning, then they have a week to practice, and then they come back with hundreds of questions the following weekend. And the following weekend, I go a little bit deeper and I explain more about what I call the pulse reading, how to do a pulse reading, how to feel on others, where they exactly need energy. I go really in details in order to make sure that all my students are following the simple rules that are necessary in order to be impactful and to have results in the healing process. Knowing that the healing process is for themselves, but they can also help family members and friends.
Great, thank you. There are a few questions coming in now. The first question is, do you have a training course to get certified in the art of healing? So this is kind of leading into the next questions. Is the training course online?
Yes, initially I was always traveling. I've trained more than 4,000 people. And I was going to New York, Paris, Casablanca, and I was traveling. Now I'm doing everything on Zoom. And it's fantastic because we have people from Australia, Singapore, India, New York, sitting behind the screen and learning from me and able to implement the same day. Then yes, the workshop is on Zoom, online, and it's twice 4 hours, plus with follow-ups after that. Okay. Did I answer the questions?
Yes, I think so. There are a couple of other questions. A question from Cindy P. Does one require 1 session or more? And is there anything that can't be treated using this modality?
Okay, then I'm giving the example of the free transfer of the energy that I do online. The cumulative effect of the 3-4 minutes of transfer of energy is always better. I mean, we had, in the case of Anne, 1 transfer was enough for her to be able to smell, to smell. But usually you need to build up a little bit. There's lots of work to be done. And the cumulative effect of energy transfer will always be positive in order to get rid of what your body doesn't need anymore. And by the way, even after the transfer that I've just done now, you need to know that there can be some aggravation phase, there can be some headaches, there can be some physical reaction, but this is very good news. That means the body is in a scramble to heal itself, to get rid of what is not necessary anymore. Then please, I really invite all of you to come to the free transfer of energy in order to have a cumulative effect, in order to feel better. And the course will really empower yourself, because then you take the power and you do it on yourself and you're able to help others. And this is priceless.
Okay. So Sabine, if we send people your website details, they'll be able to contact you for the free transfer of energy. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. Can you see what's happening here?
Yeah.
You have the website was sabinethomas.co. And my email address, sabinethomas@global.co.za. And I'm going to send you the link for the free transfers.
Great. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share the workshop details, Saturday the 7th and the 14th of November, 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. There's an early bird special. If you book before Sunday night, before midnight on Sunday, you'll get the early bird price. If you are international, you can do that in the equivalent US dollar rate will be $122 before midnight on Sunday. If you are in South Africa and you use your South African ID number, you can get the early bird special of 1,300 Rand before Sunday night. And you can book for that workshop. And I will be sending an email now with those details along with Sabine's website, so you can contact Sabine to join her free energy transfers. And Sabine, you say they take place 6 days a week?
Yes.
Which day doesn't it happen
on? In November, it's going to change. It's been the same timetable for 3-4 months now, but in November it's changing, but I will send you all the necessary informations.
Okay, great. And I'm going to be sending that
tomorrow morning at 10:30, by the way.
Tomorrow morning at 10:30.
10:30 South African time, 9:30 Paris time.
Great. I am looking forward to that. And I'm going to be sending an email with your details and with the details of that course to everybody who's registered for this webinar now. And the recording for this webinar will be shared tomorrow morning. So Sabine, thank you very, very much for being here this evening. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And thank you for the energy transfer. I definitely felt a lot better after that. So thank you very much. And to everybody for being here tonight, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, for another webinar from Moyo Talks.